You're watching Cheche live on Citizen TV. How can community policing enhance Kenya's security? Our guest today, Joseph Kaguthi of the National Task Force on Community Policing, has been responding to that overarching question during our show today. We have several viewers, several viewer comments, but before the break, Mutegi and David were shaking their heads about what they'd heard so far. So I'll ask you, Mutegi, starting with you. From what you've heard from Mr. Kaguthi, do you believe that enough is being done to entrench community policing within our national security architecture?
I would have felt it. I mean, I live in Kenya. If there's any Nyumba Kumi or anything, I would have felt it. I don't feel it. What we were organizing before is what we have. We have not had any interaction with anybody from anywhere to tell us. We have our own gate, our own watchmen. We do our own policing. But it has nothing to do with them.
David?
Same verdict. I think, which is what I would like to agree with Mr. Kaguthi, the idea is in the baking. It has not rolled out. But if you tell me it has rolled out, I will totally refuse, because I've not seen it on the ground. And if it's existing, it's still too informal, not connected or networked to the official security systems that we are trying to employ to curb the insecurity. That synergy is not there.
And that's the view of the people who've been commenting. Anything security must involve the police. People stop reporting illicit brew and drug sellers in estates because of frustration from police. Similarly, unless the police are restructured right from the top, Nyumba Kumi may also be frustrated. That came from Nabwana in Mombasa. Hello, Cheche. Who rewards those who work hard for community policing? Kenneth Washir, he gives us a name from the Mount Narok Community Policing, and the OCS have done an incredible job and deserve recognition. I'm not sure that that's really a resident calling in, texting in. But it's not easy to bring Nyumba Kumi to operate alongside the sub-chiefs and ward administrators because the chiefs are claiming interference in the work. That's Sifuna in Webuye. I see miserable young men and women claiming to be in charge of Nyumba Kumi initiative. They are doing very well, e.g. assisting police to get criminals. Are they paid, Patrick Moyale? So it's, there's a lot of confusion all round. So the question becomes, has the government, have you done enough to sell Nyumba Kumi or community policing or Msingi Salama, whatever you could call it, to Kenyans?
We haven't.
Yes. Why not?
You're
not properly resourced.
We told you it's too early. And we told you that what we are doing now is that initiative, even the definitions alone coming on. That's why I told you that our first stop is that vernacular, so that they use the proverbs and so forth. And the coming to Cheche, this is the first time from October that I am coming in the Citizen. Incidentally, if you want members of that task force, they are ready, because we do not have resources to extend. So if you give us platforms, we'll keep on telling you, but the amount of work to be done is not little, and it's going to take long to establish it because of what I told you, the absence of duties and responsibility of citizens. We are now telling the citizens, hi, your security starts with you before it comes to the police officer.
Those who have said that, of course, you had the opposition from, I think, the political opposition to Nyumba Kumi when it started.
When it came.
Code, saying that this is a system to monitor political activities of opponents and frustrate them, or the government wants to use that Nyumba Kumi to mobilize, for political purposes.
The view of the task force.
What is the ground like?
The view of the task force, we were very positive. They marketed Nyumba Kumi to the tune of 40%, because we had not set it at all. So they have to raise the awareness. The one thing I would not like to see a lot of leaders saying is where they go condemning Nyumba Kumi, and they tell the citizens not to get, for instance, near a month in Machakos. They are set And we are encouraging them to go the way. They are leaders of communities. We want to encourage them to continue there. But the minute you say that Nyumba Kumi not work, and you have security cover of yourself, that one I will not agree with you, because it's wrong. It's not morally right. Let us allow the citizens to keep on taking care, and let's ask the security committees in Kajiado, why is it that Gong is still having a very major problem? Because you have not been helping them to re-establish themselves. The others in Nairobi, for instance, certain flats, already they have started knowing one another. They have exchanged phones. They have exchanged emails. One time I was involved with a child, my own grandchild, about Kalipotea. And when I reached there, they had already sent emails to everybody, and the child was they were saying ako kwa nyumba fulani ndipo wanaochi those TV things ya wao wamejifungia. That is community policing. It is sorting out the problem the way they see it in situ. It is having the two. Is preventive, that cluster is preventive, and it is in itself promotive. Therefore, and it sorts out problems around them. It reaches a certain level, like your estate, you don't meet often, no, because you have reached a level where the fear of crime is not there, opportunities for crime in your cluster is not there. Therefore, you are on a promotive, on a preventive mood. Note, what is the chief in Nanette doing? He has gone to that other level that we want to reach. He is able to mobilize. Everybody becomes a participant. Everybody becomes a participant in his location. Mm-hmm. The sub-location, they are all participating on a Twitter. Therefore, any crime happening, sometimes even development, Chief, my chicken is overgrown, I cannot have a market. He tweets it, and the market is created. That is where we are going.
Okay, what about the rebranding? Just a minute. The rebranding, because is it Nyumba Kumi or Msingi Salama? What are you doing with
we're having a bit of a problem. When we were appointed, we discussed it in the name and what it will be like. We wanted to recommend to the country usalama wa msingi, so that usalama wa msingi ndio utakuwa msingi wa usalama katika taifa letu. But the Nyumba Kumi, because it had taken a political angle, the citizens have clung with it, the media has clung with it, the leadership of the country, the president has clung with it. So we find that Nyumba Kumi ni usalama wa msingi, which will be long term, the foundations of security in the country, and it take a bit of time. Like, I would like to get a law which is introducing the interpretation of the national anthem, so the citizen now are given the duties in a legislation, and the nationhood policy is developed around the national anthem, because we don't have it in our constitution.
Do we need that?
We need it.
I heard you saying inculcating nationalism, nationhood.
Nationhood. We don't have a nationhood policy. You just have Kaguthi, that kind of thing. No, it's because we don't have a nationhood building policy. We have Vision 2030, how to build the nation, but the nationhood itself, or the duties and responsibilities of citizens, so that you go. I was being given an example. They went somewhere in one of the Southern Africa countries, and they attacked Ethiopia. The members of the conference from Ethiopia had to have the whole conference adjourned. You attacked Ethiopia. Go to the Constitution of Tanzania says that where the interest of Tanzania is concerned, even if you are the last one, you cannot surrender. Interest. How about us here? We are, sometimes I look at us like that, it's as if we are eating our own intestines.
But we used to have a minister for national guidance.
And
was it
national guidance and political affairs?
Political affairs and national guidance. We even had.
Did we ever change?
We even had a commission. No, ideologically we have a problem. Ideologically we have a problem. I don't want to go back to that.
Anyway,
but you see,
I wanted to ask you about this trust business. There are two areas of fear. If you suspect somebody, you go to report to report to the police. You fear that the police will start giving
will
you problems.
disclose you.
Not even disclose. Started making you write statements and go to report.
You're suspect.
The other thing, the counter of that, is that the people you report, how safe are you from?
I agree with
so
you.
both ways,
With that,
you are in a dilemma.
it was articulated even in the 200 plus recommendations by Ransely. I saw the agony, the committee of Naikuni head. We have a challenge on those areas. The gap, the mindset of the police officers is a big job to change. We have no alternative. It's likely to take a long, long time, but it has got to be done. So what you are saying is true. The citizens still are not trusting. We want them to trust. We want to encourage them to trust. But we got also to work on the police at the syllabus, at the seniors. I was in the vetting where I asked the guy in charge of police reforms one question on the reform, and I could see he's hazy, meaning that it has not been embraced as much. So we need to do quite a lot of work as a country, not even as a task force, as a country.
Okay, a question for the panel, because the viewers are taking exception with the media and concern for human rights in the ongoing security crackdown. Stop supporting terrorism in the name of human rights when Kenyans are being killed by Somalis on our own soil. You should be on the front line in supporting the government. And then there's this. From Sandra in Ruaka. Why does the media think they're part of the security machinery? They have no training, and they cannot support terrorists, I think was the thrust of the message. But essentially, a couple of viewers thinking that by questioning...
Absolutely not. Let me tell you, Udwak. You see, people have this thing of minding their welfare. Until that operation comes to your neighborhood, and then you see the kind of violations of your rights, especially of innocent people, that you begin to appreciate that people suffer the atrocities or brutality or violations that we talk about. The media is a guardian of our collective rights. It is the eye to guarantee that what happens to you is not evil, is not illegal. And allowing them to be there is to witness the operation, not to interfere. What operation is that happens behind closed doors in darkness? What is it that is being done if it's not illegal that we cannot see? An operation ought to, as a certain extent possible, especially if it's not dangerous, rounding up people and putting them in a place in an operation is okay. There's nothing wrong with the operation. But can you allow access to people? Can you allow families to see those people?
Much as I would want to agree with my friend here, I believe that when there's an emergency, human rights must be
secondary.
Must be secondary, at least temporarily, for the time being.
Temporarily?
Yes.
So somebody should knock you, beat you up, because they're doing an operation?
Human rights does not mean beating. It means you have free movement to move. For instance, if Isili was sealed off, it means you cannot move out of there until they sort out the problem. After they sort out the problem. It happened in America after 9/11. They suspended all those human rights we're talking about until they sorted out their matter. And I believe that...
Okay, so the panel disagrees on that, sir. You want to weigh in?
They are disagreeing. I would rather support, as a media consumer, what has annoyed me is to get a leader given a national platform articulating what the spokesman of Al-Shabaab, Godane, is saying. And I see it word for word, the question for question.
You're referring to the majority leader, Aden Duale?
No, another one. But I will not mention. The thing is, let the media start also being just a little bit sensitive on the interest. As a media consumer myself, what they are saying, I sometimes have the same. That we have come from the example I gave you, where a church is attacked. People are killed innocently. Then over here, another one is killed. Then there is a fracas. Where is the media? What I'm saying is, the interest of the country, where is it?
The interest of the country must be upheld, but the rule of law must also be upheld. Nowhere in the Constitution does it say when there's an operation somewhere, you have no access to information about what is going on there. And going in there is not interfering. It's finding out, because if that security is in the interest of the public needs to know exactly how it's being pursued,
When it
whether
comes-
it's their interest or not their
When it
interest.
comes to operational things, you remember I have talked about the supervision. We rely on the senior people on taking care of that. You cannot, in an operational area, go in and, because the operation is such that...
Okay, what is the nature of the operation? Perhaps that's what somebody needs to ask.
You know, whether you are talking about the operation in Afghanistan or you are talking about
Yes.
Central African Republic, now there are things that are done in an operation which are not so much normal. What is happening now?
That is the brutality.
Now,
That's not allowed.
that-
And it cannot be justified that because America did it, it became right.
No,
No.
You know what you are appearing?
Yes.
You are appearing as if
Yes.
you are supporting the other side,
Not
where
at
the
all.
citizens would like. You got to clarify that.
Not at all.
Don't appear as if you are supporting a line where they want to sort out this problem, where now including our own MP in Kamkuji, anagongwa na bomb. Anybody, if they were being held there, an operation is conducted so that we avoid again happening or so frequently happening. So what we do,
Yes.
let us now allow that one to get rounded up, but plead with the senior police officers to have supervision, including government itself, so that the pain of the citizens is reduced. But ni lazima tutoe hiyo mwimba na maira yake.
When Westgate was attacked, it was sealed off. And the media were even some of them get vests for security. But some of the media operations there were not helpful because they were announcing what is going to happen.
And helping,
And
the
helping
enemy.
the enemy.
Helping the enemy.
I mean,
I would have caused it myself on that.
That is what can be agreed upon.
Yeah.
What now? That is the judgment called editorial decisions.
Yeah.
Now that is leadership call on the media. But what can you legitimately broadcast from what you get?
Yeah.
And the media exercises judgment. What is harmful to society?
Did we
what is
exercise
harmful
judgment on
whatever?
Westgate?
There will be
Did
slip
we?
ups.
they do it, exactly.
Investigate. We did not. We promoted the two things that Al-Shabaab is saying they like. They would like to win the war on propaganda and violence. And they want to cause maximum pain, maximum this, maximum publicity. They were using our national platforms. If you are an editor and you did that.
Okay, final remark on that, and then we'll come back to the issue of security, because there are
Other issues.
specific questions. Say, for instance, I live in Donholm. In the recent past, we have witnessed an influx of West Africans. We don't know what they do or how they earn their keep. How can we initiate Nyumba Kumi without appearing xenophobic?
good question.
What are all these foreigners doing here? Why should we citizens help the state when the state is admitting foreigners left, right,
Yeah,
and
that's
center?
a fantastic question. You want me to comment on this?
Yes, please.
Organize your Nyumba Kumi immediately. That is one area that you get yourself on 999. You report these are suspicious characters. Watch their idol. They come there in on odd hours. That there are certain odd things that you find that they are not normal. Report on 999. It is 24 hours. If that is engaged, report 112. If again you find that they are playing about with their children because they play about with our children, report on 116. But if you find that some ladies are being the gender, sorry for being a lady, on gender issues is 395. Those 4 platforms.
395. Okay, so those are several numbers.
So that one is a very important for Nyumba Kumi. And down home, you have your associations. Chairman of those associations, if it's too wide, can you break it and have it on lower kind of case? The categories, the cluster. Reduce the cluster so that you know one another more closely.
Okay, you're talking about the Nyumba Kumi associations functioning, but there's this from Victor Nairobi. We are unable to implement Nyumba Kumi in our block of 40 self-owned residential flats along Chania Road in Nairobi, as 3 landlords or so have converted their flats into business premises. How can your office help?
we have one street where they have formed that cluster, the Nyumba Kumi cluster. This is Biashara and of a known person. And the way they do it, they have managed even to stop certain activities which would have injured them. On that one, link up with your nearest security organ, if it is the OCPD who is near you, or the OCS, or the admin officer. Link up with them and tell them, we want to do this and we are facing the following problem. Because this devolution of policing, we want the participation of very many actors, including the citizens. So involve them, they will help you. After all, we are in the process of training them also. The training, Makari is right, we've not done adequately.
Okay, there are several questions about protection from police. Mutegi referred to it, brought it up earlier. How you protect yourself when you're trying to give information to the police, and the police either disclose your identity to the suspect or whatever.
Or they trade with it.
Yes. How you know what to do in that?
What has happened is this. All that was released very, very articulately by the Lancet report, and the gap is there. The training needs to be done quite frankly. It's going to take a bit of time, but it must be done. I agree with them. The victimization reports, they keep on saying that a lot of citizens do not feel comfortable to report, and that's why we are going smart policing. We have not even reached the level of smart policing that we are envisaging, including intelligence-led kind of crime management. You remember we talked about one of our terms of reference being the coming up with a strategy, the crime prevention strategy. It is not there in the country. We got to develop it, and within these terms of this period which is remaining, God willing, we want to end up getting it through. Professionalization of the police.
You've talked about all of that. It's just that there are people who feel vulnerable if they need to engage with the police. So what specifically should they do? What?
Go to the higher level. Go to the higher level.
Go as high as you can.
Because you know the problem that I saw when I was in the campaign against drug abuse is citizens of the country thinking that a constable who is taking that decision is like a superintendent here. Sometimes their levels also matter. Try as a citizen, if you find that this challenge is there, go slightly higher. You can go to the CID, you can go to the Kenya Police Commander, you can go to the AP Commander, or the Commissioner, the Administrator.
A final question from our viewers, because we're on borrowed time now. It's how will Nyumba Kumi keep us safe when neighbors hate one another along tribal and political lines? And I'll back that up with another question, which is, I am a victim of these terrorist attacks, and you're asking questions that annoy me. Look to Westgate, Isiliba, Tatu, Garissa Church, Ngala Church, Mombasa Church, police ambush, several other attacks are referenced. And all those areas where innocent lives have been lost. By the information you have, tell the country and the world. And the viewer goes on to identify an ethnic group as being associated with terrorism, and saying that other ethnic groups are not associated with terrorism. So how do we deal with that, given that our country is already so ethnically and politically polarized?
You remember I have been talking about that particular subject endlessly, that nationhood building policy. I have been saying it. Apart from the national anthem in the entire constitution, I've been talking about the duties and responsibilities of citizens. In certain countries, they will tell you, protect the public property where it is. The constitutions that I have seen in the entire region. Now,
this comes from an Eastleigh victim.
Yes, and that's why they are seeing as if the media is sympathetic to the people who have been injuring them. And when it is being sorted out, they simply go for the pain of the ones who, when it is being sorted out, to the exclusion or to ignoring the other side, so that they put the human rights too much on the weight. We do not want to injure our citizens. I keep on saying it. We do not want to appear as if we are fighting, the country is fighting one community. I have lived in an area where you find that if you are so and so, then you are not, you cannot enjoy the following rights in the minds of the. You remember even the Constitution when we were first appointing the DOs. The certain communities will not accept us to post DOs to their areas. You see that we are on a transition, and give it time. But media, please moderate yourselves. The citizens are not with the. As long as you are appearing as if you are sympathizing with the other side.
That's what the viewers are
with
saying.
both.
Mutegi, what do you think? Just to close the show, because there are lots of comments here about the media sympathizing with terrorists.
I think the propaganda war is, like he said, a lot of noise was made when Makabur was killed. No, not much noise was made because of that child by leaders that made. So the
by
media,
leaders from a
the media is there to report. I mean, you report what you say.
But when you interview us, when you interview other leaders,
yes,
you appear as if you have forgotten the problem they are sorting out. Yeah. Then you come supporting one side. What I think the leadership should be, can you reduce the pain and the criminality during the operation? But let the operation be effective.
I think that, Mr. Kaguthi, that is a problem of perception. The media must not be seen to be taking sides. And I don't think the media takes sides. The media only seeks to be the guarantor of everybody's rights. That's how I would put it.
But David,
so in the case of, for example, Isli,
yes, and the victim,
which is going on, the truth is there have been explosions, attacks, and people have suffered in Isli. But should the operation to fix or to arrest or apprehend the criminals occasion a new injury and harm to people who may not be guilty or associated or innocent at all, or who may be innocent in that environment? Okay,
but then speak to the victim who believes that you're protecting a specific community, and that the other 40 or so communities in Kenya are not involved in terrorism.
The issue, it's easy, and I actually, first of all, I must say I sympathize with the pain of these people who say things like this because they have suffered direct attacks or consequences of those attacks. But my appeal is try and moderate that with the case of people. I could be there in Isli, for example. I'm not a Somali, because that's what the stereotype has been. That
or you could be a Somali who is not involved.
Or you could be a Somali who is innocently doing business or living in Isli because that's where your community is, and therefore you find greater harmony affiliation to live there.
Talk like an elder.
Yes.
You are a media person, but talk like an elder.
Yes.
Let the seniors
Are we saying, Mr. Kaguthi, that the rights of the innocent should not be protected?
They will.
That is my point. They must always be protected, even in the pursuit of criminals. Otherwise, you end up perpetuating violation of rights in the pursuit of protecting others. That is not acceptable.
I can go a little more. Nakuru, citizens of Nakuru, watch out. There are certain teachings which are taking place, and you get people talking about it. The other day they were teaching in Migori, a bit of radicalism, Kisumu, and the prevention system, support government machinery with the information, because we do not want to get another spread of the Isili from Garissa, then to Isili, then we go to Mombasa. You remember the MRC, where aspects of which interfere with the national interests are concerned. Let's reduce it, but let's not appear as if we are unsympathetic.
No.
Let's not appear as if we are.
I think the line is very thin on protecting and appearing to support. That's where the line is being lost. The point is, I imagine you are in Sli, you live there, or in Ngong, an operation happens. What is the extent of the operation of the police operation that does not allow anybody else to see? That is the question that I need to ask. And I've seen that operations. For example, if you're an innocent person and the people come in here and begin to strip us naked, and you're an innocent person and frog march you or make you do inhuman acts Is that acceptable even in the pursuit of criminals? It isn't.
Let me tell you, I give you a very practical example.
So the systems of police operation must be
you
checked.
are in an organization where there is a stamp here.
Yes.
There is a stamp, or here, a stamp
Yes.
of the members of that organization. And they believe that the leader is in this room. You will be stripped, and the camera will be off so that you don't show Kaguthi's nakedness and Makari's nakedness if he's innocent. Let me tell you, when it comes to operation, I cannot talk myself so much because I am not privy to the operation orders and the objectives of that operation.
Okay, Mutegi, final word.
To me, when we say in our language, when a tree falls, the only people are affected by it are those who are there. So a tree has fallen. You happen to be there. You didn't cause the fall, the fall of the tree, but you happen to be there. That to me is the meaning of it. If you're hurt, hard luck.
As an elder's position also.
Okay. David, final thoughts?
I have no final thought. I think I've said enough. I do not want to appear to be promoting or protecting the criminals. I just think that our rights and everybody's rights must be upheld, and it's the job of the media to guarantee that those rights are being upheld, regardless of the situation.
Mr. Kaguthi.
One, keep on giving the members of the task force a platform so they communicate with the citizen. The citizen, we are asking you, start knowing your neighbor as much as you can. Those who do not want to be known because of the privacy and is protected by the Constitution, leave them alone. They are focusing to themselves without knowing. Freedom of association is guaranteed. But we are currently devolving policing to where it matters most, where the citizen is the biggest police officer for the country. If you are not involved in a Nyumba Kumi, even if you are in a block of flats or in your office, you do not know certain people in the neighboring offices, they could be doing damage which will interfere with you. Please take interest and give us a bit of time. We in Nyumba Kumi communicate and we mobilize the country. The resources are not there as yet, but we believe the resources will come. And for what there is now, we are happy with the ones that we have been given, in the sense that apart from the discomfort of the office, we see that there is some work which is going on.
Okay, so we have it there. Our time is up. Many thanks to Joseph Kaguthi, Chairman of the National Task Force on Community Policing. Our thanks also to our panelists, Mutegi Jao and David Makali. We've had a lively conversation this morning on Cheche. My name is Odwa Kamimo. I thank you for your engagement with us. Do enjoy the rest of your week.